Okay, let's drink some coffee all the way from Ethiopia. Although a slump in global coffee prices to their lowest in nearly 13 years is raising questions about whether it's worth growing beans at all in traditional coffee heartlands like Ethiopia. In the highlands of Ethiopia, coffee farmers are seriously thinking about calling time on an industry that has sustained families for generations.
Over the past year, the amount farmers like Joseph Lima get for a kilogram of coffee beans has fallen a third to 8 birr, or just 29 cents, reducing his income from a cappuccino sold in the West for $3 to $4 to under a cent. Unlike producers of commodities such as oil and natural gas, coffee farmers have long suffered from being at the wrong end of the value chain, receiving only a small fraction of the retail price of their crop.
The price of coffee has certainly gone down. However, we cannot stop growing coffee just because the price has gone down. We're not going to be lazy. Even the price of gold fluctuates on the international market, let alone coffee. It will go up at some point and then down at some point. That is how coffee prices behave.
A slump in global coffee prices to their lowest in nearly 13 years is raising questions about whether it's worth growing beans at all in some of the traditional coffee heartlands of Central America, Colombia, and Ethiopia.
If the price of coffee continues to fall like this, the situation will force the farmer to consider changing to growing other crops. So far, they have not done that because the government is subsidizing them by making different contributions, such as supplying coffee trees and providing trainings. We also tell them the future is bright. However, it has heavily affected the farmer's life because the cost of living and their revenue is not matching at all.
But at the other end of the chain, coffee has never been hotter. Millennials in the West who grew up with Starbucks drink a lot and have fueled a proliferation of coffee shops as well as innovations from cold brew to nitrogen coffee. The industry has also seen a wave of acquisitions as companies such as Nestle, JAB Holding, and Coca-Cola spend billions to boost their market share. For struggling farmers, though, times are tough. Growers around the world have warned coffee company executives in the West of a growing social catastrophe unless they can help to raise farmers' incomes. The main factor behind the latest slide in prices was a bumper coffee crop in Brazil, by far the world's biggest producer. For farmers in Ethiopia, the fluctuations in financial markets in New York quickly feed through to prices at home. While Ethiopia does produce some high-quality varieties, only a small proportion of its beans are sold as exclusive specialty coffees from a specific location.
And Algeria plans to conclude its deal with ExxonMobil Corporation and set up a trade joint venture with an international company before the first half of 2019. The CEO of Sonatrach, Abdomen Kado, who did not give further details of the deal, had previously said Sonatrach wanted a shale gas cooperation with a U.S. major. The state energy firm had also said before it was in talks with 14 international companies over a joint venture to trade oil and gas products after agreeing to buy its first overseas refinery. Well, let's wrap up the show now by crossing over to the Nigerian stock market for update on today's trading activities. Temple has all the details. Hello, Temple. Good afternoon. At intraday, we saw the index up. Just wondering what it is like now. What's the update?
Well, the position is still in the northwards direction. All share index is still up at between 0.37% and, of course, 0.42% a few minutes ago. So that last check that we gave to the numbers, we saw that the market is moving with some good stocks in the market. A lot of stocks that have bottomed out in terms of prices declining before now are beginning to regain the attention and interest of a lot of investors. NEM Insurance is one of these companies, and that is one of the key companies that a lot of investors are watching. I mean, in this period, at this point in time, that is because NEM Insurance was one of the worst performing companies for the year 2018 that just ended, and so the prices have really declined, much lower than 2 naira in terms of its share price. Now we see it opened this morning at 1 naira 73 kobo, but it's now around 1 naira 88 kobo in the share price. So we've seen that O&O is also rising 9%, and of course, in terms of the sectoral performances, 3 of the key sectors in the market are currently doing well. Industrial goods segments, oil and gas is also doing well, as well as the banking names. They are all doing well at this point in time. Diamond Bank, which is still the toast of the market, is seeing some kind of profit taking at this point in time, down some 0.69% or thereabouts. And of course, that just tells you that investors have made some gains on it, and it's now time for them to quickly make exits. It's done some 87 million units of its shares, and it's representing about 55% of the entire transaction or volume of transactions that we've seen in the market so far today, Chimeze.
5 minutes, of course, the markets will close. From all you have said and from what you have seen so far, are we still likely going to close in the positive? Does it look like?
It's possible if we don't see any major change in the movements we've seen on Dangote Cement, which is a little bit marginal at this point in time, but coupled with the kind of advancements we've seen on WAPCO as well as CCNN that are all found on the top trade on the gainers chart of the NSE at this point in time, we should be able to see the markets closing positive. Again, you know, as I said earlier, prices are low. Investors have done some rejigging of their portfolio. They've rebalanced their portfolio. Some have reduced their holding in a lot of companies and have this time right now to basically re-enter on some of the equities that you have in the market. WAPCO, for example, has lost way back in the sessions before the new year, but when the market resumed on the 2nd of January, we saw it then rising again. So at a point in time, it fell, and then now that it has seen some sessions of losses, and now it's created room for a re-entry for a lot of investors. Don't forget again, that company is doing its right issue, and that offers some kind of interest to a lot of investors. I should also bring you up to speed before we end this session that 2 key companies that had the attention of the FIRS, the Federal Inland Revenue Service, recently, that's Morrison and Meyer PLC, which used to be known as DN Meyer, recently issued press releases to the exchange notifying them of their businesses reopened again because the FIRS was said to have allegedly shut them down for failure to meet some of their tax demands and all of them. Morrison, for example, explained that for the 2017 papers or tax demands that the FIRS was imposing on them was due to the fact that they were using the 2016 numbers to judge the performance. So the 2 companies have reopened and businesses are going on with the 2 right now. Chimeze.
All right, thank you for those updates, Temple, and let's leave it at that and hope for the best at the end of trading today. And that's it on the program. Thank you for watching. I'm Chimeze Obi Iwago.